Climate activists joined Indigenous land and water protectors Friday in a march on City National Bank, demanding it divest from the Coastal GasLink pipeline in British Columbia. Leading the protest was Adam McKay, director of the hit Netflix film Don't Look Up. McKay and Hollywood A-listers, including Meryl Streep, Mark Ruffalo, and Leonardo DiCaprio, say they'll pull their money out of City National unless its parent company, the Royal Bank of Canada, ends support for the pipeline that's being built on sovereign Wet'suwet'en First Nations land. Indigenous activist George Funmaker also joined Friday's protest.
We have to look at the hard scientific data. Right now, and you won't hear this on the news, 0% of climate scientists disagree with the fact that we are causing man-made climate warming. And this is the clock. We all should be looking at, all of our broadcast news should have this clock on the lower third. All of our print news should be having this clock. 422 parts per million greenhouse gases. This is it. We need to focus this, man. We're living in a slot machine of titillating distractions and clicks and likes. It needs to be all about this.
Scientists say a 2-degree warmer world would be big trouble for the planet. Explain for us why 2 degrees warmer. 2 doesn't sound like a lot.
Right? And that's compared to 1.5. So, and like we talked about, the clock is ticking. Have you ever seen a climate clock, Cheryl?
You know, let's look at it, because we're thinking about making this part of our nightly climate check, the climate clock you have there.
Yeah, so this is the countdown to how long we have left to change and preserve 1.5 C. So you can see 7 years, and I like this. It makes it more real.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, when you see it like that and you know it's counting down, certainly that is something impressive. So that's the climate clock, and this is the real change that we're talking about. We're at a tipping point where we need to choose what we're going to do. If we're going to cut significantly our emissions, we can really kind of forestall what would be a disastrous climate in the year 2100. But if we keep going the way we're going, it's going to be real trouble. So let's talk about it. So what's the difference? 0.5 degree Celsius, which is about 2 degrees Fahrenheit. How much change does it really mean? Well, in terms of heat, 14% of the Earth is going to be exposed to heat waves once every 5 years. That's where we're at now with 1.5. If we go to 2C, it's more than double. It's 37% of the Earth. So that's a big difference. In terms of water, 1.5 versus 2.0 Celsius, 61 more million people are going to be exposed to severe drought if we hit that 2C. And in terms of biodiversity, it's double when we're talking about plants. Right now, 1.5 C warming says 8% of plants will see their range cut in half. With a 2.0 Celsius scenario, it's 16%. And of course, plants is where we get our food and our medicine. So if we want to cure our illnesses, we need to cure our climate.
Look at this clock right here. There's a bunch of them around. Think about what we need to do together. A movement of white people, black people, Latino people working together to make the governor act. We need the money to go from the top 1% to the rest of us to fund the jobs, the mass transit, the housing, the clean agriculture that we need right now.
Climate justice, racial justice, Green New Deal! Climate justice, racial justice, Green New Deal!
Nós somos povos originários, nós somos donos da terra, muito antes de existir Constituição, muito antes de existir Estados.
E esse movimento da Marcha das Mulheres Indígenas em si é um marco para nós indígenas e não indígenas. A Mãe Terra, por si, já está pedindo socorro para nós. Só que o homem ainda insiste em explorar.
Não tem como distinguir a luta indígena e a causa do meio ambiente. Porque nós, povos indígenas, somos os principais defensores do meio ambiente.
Nada mais mata contra a ganância do homem não indígena.
O pensamento eurocêntrico, ele não é coletivo, ele é individual, que pra gente é diferente. A gente luta por um todo e a gente entende a natureza como um todo. Nós somos a própria natureza se defendendo.
The way we think about time and talk about time is really shaping the way we're responding to the climate crisis.
What do you want? Climate justice! When do you want it? Now! What do you want? Climate justice! When do you want it?
The clock says that we have less than 8 years to accomplish this transition away from fossil fuels. That doesn't mean that we have less than 8 years to get started. It means that we have 0 years left.
The lifelines make it very clear that our priorities should be, in these systematic solutions that are rooted in climate justice. The role of Indigenous people in protecting the climate and protecting what is left of biodiversity and nature in this world is so critical and really isn't talked about enough.
1, 2, 3, 4! Climate justice!
The emergency that we're experiencing with climate change right now is different to different people because we're all on a different part of the process of being impacted by climate change.
One deadline, many lifelines. A ticking, dynamic, visible, visceral readout of that situation. It's absolutely necessary that we are aware of it and keep it in mind and act upon it.
What do we want? Climate justice! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Climate justice! When do we want it? Now!
For my own children, I really hope it's something that they will never have to think about, and that by the time they're old enough to understand these issues, we can talk about it as something that we addressed and we solved.
It's not easy, but it's necessary.
Hello, this is Kazakhstan Climate Clock team. My name is Gulniza, this is Galia and Mirwert.
And we're students here in Kazakhstan, and we put huge climate clock in the biggest city of Kazakhstan, Almaty, in the busiest intersection.
The Climate Clock project was the first project we ever engaged in activism, and it raised a huge awareness among our society. Join the movement!
What I'm most passionate about as an activist is to try and get the conversation about the climate crisis out to more people. Most people go through their entire day and days without ever encountering anything about the climate crisis. But with this amazing tool, with this climate clock, I can take it out into my community, walk around, and people will ask me questions, and I can tell them what it's all about.
Hi guys, I'm Marco. I'm an activist from Parents for Future Italy. I would like to show you my climate clock sign that I have updated for the last global climate strike. It is a double face sign, also with the lifeline. And I would like to show you the playbill of the campaign that we have launched in cooperation with Fridays for Future Italy in order to spread the climate clock on Italian territory. We have to show it everywhere. Bye.